Okay, the next thing they have here, the cardinal and fundamental rules of firearm safety. You want to go over that?
Yeah, that's the basics. Don't shoot any. Don't point your gun at anything you're not willing to shoot. Make sure that if you are shooting, you're shooting in a safe direction. That they're not innocent people. Bystanders in the way. We always use the basics for having a good backstop, which means that if you're shooting and you miss the target, there's something behind you that's going to stop that bullet. So you'll see ranges typically have mountains or mounds behind them, and of course all these things you're not going to be able to put into play necessarily if you're in your home or if you're on the street and you end up pulling your gun out. It's just additional factors that we want you to take into consideration. That if you're at a mall or at a movie theater and someone pulls out a gun, and then you're there with your gun and you pull out your gun and start shooting, but you're not taking into consideration all the people that are running around in the theater, and you're not thinking of the people that were behind that suspect, and then you end up injuring someone who's an innocent bystander, then that's going to be something that would be dealt with. And that's why when we take the class, they cover all those type of things. That you don't want to shoot just to shoot. You want to make sure that you have the ability to have a good shot on the target and that you're shooting in a safe direction.
Yeah, where I live, there's a lot of hunters not too many miles away. Maybe even closer. And I always am hopeful that they are taking those laws or those rules into consideration. I would assume most of them do, maybe all of them. But is there, when somebody goes hunting, is it required that they take a safety class as well?
Oh yeah, you have when you go to hunt, especially when you're a child, you have to take a hunter safety course. And I remember taking my hunter safety course when I was a kid, and it talked about everything from the safety of the gun to cleaning the gun to just generic safe shooting tips, and that's in essence what we're doing here with the concealed handgun license. Is that they're going to talk about the basic rules of don't leave your gun loaded sitting on a counter in your house where people can get to, that type of stuff.
Okay. Next is safe storage of the firearm.
So that would be in regards to whether or not if you have small children in the home, if you choose to store the gun in your bedroom in the nightstand, we always encourage people to keep them in some sort of safe. A lot of people don't like the safe because it's hard to get to if they are needing to get to it quickly. But they do make really nice safes that are fairly inexpensive that you can mount either to the bottom portion of the bed or inside one of the drawers that have a fingerprint piece on it. So you just slide your hand into it, and when it hits your fingerprints, it automatically opens up the safe, and you can grab your gun pretty quick. And so some of the stuff that they'll talk about is the safety piece, that if you have kids in the home, that you're not going to just leave it out on the counter. If you're going to store it at your home, you're going to store it securely with a gun lock or in a safe. And we encourage, I encourage people who are responsible gun owners to do stuff in that fashion, because heaven forbid that they actually become a victim of a burglary when they're not there. If people walk in and there's guns in a safe that they can't get to, that means that there's guns that aren't going to be in the hands of the wrong people. But if they're just sitting on the nightstand and easy to get to, then the suspects are going to take those, and they could possibly use them against other people. So I always encourage people that if you're going to be a responsible gun owner, have some sort of safe near your bed. I have a safe that I keep in the closet where I put my gun every night, regardless, and so it's always locked up in that safe. And so I know that as part of my plan that I walk through, if I know that there's something going on in my house, I know the first thing I need to do is to go into the closet to get to the safe.
Okay, safe storage for ammunition.
So that would be, the same type of thing. They always recommend not storing your ammunition right with the gun, primarily because if someone happens to break into the safe and they get the gun, they may not have the ammunition there. So that's the type of things that they're talking about.
So when we're on the subject of ammunition, there's been an ammunition shortage.
Yeah, 22. It's the 22 long rifle. What happened was shortly after the last school shooting with the AR, people were concerned that the AR rounds were going to go away, and they started to become very costly. You can transition a lot of your rifles into a 22, and it's much cheaper to shoot a 22 cartridge as opposed to a 223 cartridge. So when you're doing target shooting, and so they became very popular. 22 ARs out there, and a lot of other pistols that turned into 22s, and so people started buying up all the 22 shells. And so for some reason, over the last 2 years, there's been a huge shortage. There's only a handful of manufacturers of ammunition in the state or in the United States, and they all have had a massive back orders, both because of military need and war need, and also local supply need.
Yeah, there's the concern that the government is buying them.
Yeah, and where they're going, I don't know. I mean, we've had orders for our duty ammo, which are 40 caliber duty ammo, and 223. We've had some orders that have been on back order for almost 3 years.
Wow.
So even law enforcement is having issues getting their hands on the ammunition. I do know that because of the war that there's been some shortage of those type of ammunition, but at some point you'd think they would be able to catch up, but they for some reason have not caught up.
Yeah. Okay. Ammunition considerations, that's the next thing. Is there anything to add to?
Yeah, I mean, like if you're choosing to load your own ammunition, because you can buy the tools to make your own ammunition, that what they're going to do is they're going to talk about how to load it if you're going to load your own. But then not only that, but also there are different types of, for like our 40 caliber, there's several different styles. There's full metal jacket, there's soft, there's hollow point. There's different types of styles of ammunition, and depending on what type of ammunition you shoot will determine how far it travels out of the gun. And so, if you're in your home, you might use a soft tip bullet, because if you miss whatever you're shooting at and it hits a wall, it will disintegrate before it goes through the wall, and it won't hit anything on the outside, as opposed to if you used a full metal jacket type of round, you have the ability to shoot through one wall and then possibly travel into the wall of another home and injure someone. So we use the same type of concept when it comes to our 223s. Our ARs have both full metal jacket and soft point ammo. And we use a soft point for when we're doing entry into a home in a residential area, and we use the full metal jacket if we're in the rural areas where we're having to shoot long distance. And the idea is that you're using the right type of ammunition for your surroundings, so that you're not, if you miss your target, you're not going to over penetrate and hurt someone else. But then also the capabilities of a soft point round, when it enters the body, handles differently than the hollow point. The hollow point will do different things, so that you have, you're more likely to cause damage to someone if you use a certain type of ammunition, and the person's more likely to stop sooner than if you were to use just a full metal jacket that could just go right in the arm and right back out the other side.
Okay, that's good information. Purchasing a handgun?
So what they're going to do is on that training, we're going to talk about what the right type of gun is for you. A small little miniature 22 pistol is probably not going to be the best, but a Desert Eagle 50 caliber pistol is probably not going to be a good gun for you to shoot. It'd be a fun gun to shoot, but not realistic enough to carry. So what they're going to do is they're going to go over picking the right type of gun for your type of situation. If you like to carry a gun in a purse, you're going to want to buy a specific type of gun because of the size and the ease. And if you've never shot a gun before, you're not going to want to go right into a Glock or a Sig Sauer 40 or 45 caliber or 357. You're going to want to start off with something a little bit smaller, like a 9mm or a 38. It's those type of conversations. Okay,
and along the same line, concealed carry equipment considerations.
That would be what you're going to consider to hold the gun. There's different retention levels. So you can go from anything from like an Uncle Mike's soft velvet belt clip that just clips in your belt and the gun slides in it and there's no retention whatsoever and it's easy to get out, to shoulder holsters that have clips on it that retain the gun in there so if you're running it doesn't fall out, to they make sports bras that will conceal weapons. They make underwear or boxers that conceal a weapon. They have bands in it. They have shirts that you can buy that will have a specific pocket for the weapon. They have purses. They have backpacks. They have briefcases. You name it. Fanny packs. I mean, they got everything you can think of. So what the trainer will do is to show you all the different styles and then help you pick out the one that best fits for you.
Okay.
Because you know, you want to wear something again that's comfortable for you, easy to get to, and keeps with the idea of concealment.
Okay. Less than a minute left. The Eddie Eagle program.
You know, the Eddie Eagle program is a gun safety program that they've brought out years ago with, I think it was with the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts, and it was designed to teach young kids gun safety and family on the proper safety of guns around the family. And you know, it's, you know, overall when we're looking at this stuff, we're looking at not only to protect you but also your family, so that when you are out there you know, using your law, you know, your God-given right to bear arms, that you're not going to harm yourself or anyone else accidentally. And so it all goes towards the responsible, law-abiding, you know, gun ownership type of concept of, you know, teaching everybody in the house gun safety and all that good stuff.